Thank you for visiting the 10 Minutes Per Day YouTube channel, where you can learn something new each day in 10 minutes or less. Are you a master debater? Do you want to be? Well, you've come to the right place. In this video, we're going to talk about what debating is, explain the importance of logical reasoning and evidence, and provide definitions and examples for over 20 different logical fallacies. After watching this video, you will become more proficient in debating and will be able to spot and avoid common fallacies in arguments. So, why be an average debater when you can be a master debater? First, let's define what debating is, and what it isn't. Debating is not simply arguing a point. Rather, it is the process of presenting and defending a viewpoint through logical reasoning and evidence. It's a skill that's useful in many areas of life, from politics to law to everyday conversations. Now, let's talk about some common logical fallacies that you might encounter in a debate. A logical fallacy is a mistake in reasoning that can make an argument invalid. The first fallacy on our list is ad hominem. This is when someone attacks the person making the argument, rather than the argument itself. For example, you're just saying that because you're a Republican. Or, you're too young to understand the complexities of this issue. Next up is the strawman argument. This is when someone misrepresents or exaggerates an opponent's argument in order to make it easier to attack. For example, you want to take away all our guns and leave us defenseless. Or, so, you're pro-choice. Oh, so you enjoy murdering babies. The appeal to ignorance is a fallacy that occurs when someone argues that a statement is true because it has not been proven false. For example, I'm sure UFOs have visited Earth. Unless you can show me proof that they haven't, I will believe they have. Or, there is no proof that God doesn't exist, so he must. The false dilemma is a fallacy that presents only two options when there are more. For example, you're either with us or against us. Or, either you support this policy, or you're against the welfare of our citizens. The slippery slope fallacy is when someone argues that a small action will lead to a chain of negative events. For example, if we legalize marijuana, the next thing you know we'll be legalizing heroin. Or, if we allow same-sex marriages, the next thing you know, people will want to marry their donkeys and goats. The circular argument is when an argument is restated in different words but doesn't actually provide any new evidence. For example, God exists because the Bible says so and the Bible is true because it was written by God. Or, everyone buys this product because it's the best-selling. The hasty generalization is when someone reaches a conclusion based on a small sample size. For example, I've had a few bad experiences with people from that city, so they must all be rude. Or, I've dated two redheads before. They were both psycho. Never again. The red herring fallacy is when someone introduces an unrelated topic to distract from the main argument. For example, I know you're mad that I forgot our anniversary, but I think our budget is a more pressing issue. Or, we should not be distracted by all of those women's accusations while we still have a border wall to complete. The appeal to hypocrisy is when someone accuses their opponent of being a hypocrite in order to discredit them. For example, you can't talk about honesty when you've been caught in lies before. Or, you can't advocate for environmentalism when you don't recycle at home. The causal fallacy is when someone assumes that because one event occurred after another, the first must have caused the second. For example, I drink a gallon of lemon juice each day, and I've never gotten cancer. So, lemon juice must prevent cancer. Or, as the number of pirates in the world has decreased over the past 130 years, global warming has gotten steadily worse. The fallacy of sunk costs is when someone argues that because they've already invested a lot into something, they should continue to do so. For example, I've already put so much money into this project, I can't quit now. Or, I've been in this relationship for so long, I can't leave now. The appeal to authority is when someone uses an authority figure or expert to support their argument without actually providing any evidence. For example, the president said it's true, so it must be. Or, my pastor said the earth is only 6,000 years old, so it must be true. The appeal to pity is when someone tries to use emotions to distract from the actual issue. For example, please don't be mad at me, I've had a really tough week. Or, I'm sorry, but my dog just died, can we talk about this later? The bandwagon fallacy is when someone argues that an idea or action is correct because it's popular or widely accepted. For example, everyone else is biting into Tide Pods on TikTok, so it must be the cool thing to do. Or, McDonald's has served over 300 billion hamburgers, so they must taste the best. The false analogy is when an analogy is used to support an argument, but the two things being compared are not actually similar. For example, this product is like a miracle drug, just like penicillin was. Or, a pocket watch is complex, and must be designed intelligently by a watchmaker. Human beings are similarly complex. Thus, they must also be the product of intelligent design. The non sequitur is when a conclusion is drawn that doesn't logically follow from the evidence presented. For example, this person is successful, therefore they must be happy. Or, people like walking on the beach. And, beaches have sand. So, people should love having sand floors in their homes. The false cause is when a cause and effect relationship is assumed without any real evidence. For example, this person got sick after eating at that restaurant, so the restaurant must have made them sick. Or, I prayed for my team to win, and they did. So, my prayer must have made them win. The post hoc fallacy is when it is assumed that because one event occurred after another, it must have caused it. For example, a black cat crossed my path, and then I got into a car accident. The black cat caused the car accident. Or, every time that rooster crows, the sun comes up. That rooster must be controlling the sunrises. The burden of proof fallacy is when someone shifts the burden of proof onto their opponent without providing any evidence themselves. For example, if you don't believe in God, then can you prove that there is no God? Or, can you prove that lizard people aren't running the government from a secret bunker under that Pizza Hut? If you can't, then it must be true. The genetic fallacy is when an argument is rejected or accepted based on its origin or source, rather than its own merit. For example, this information must not be true because it comes from CNN. Everything from there is fake news. Or, this must be true because Rudy Giuliani said so during a press event in front of a landscaping company. The no true Scotsman fallacy is when someone redefines a term or group to exclude counterexamples to their argument. For example, no true patriot would support this policy. Or, real Christians would not support that candidate. Being familiar with logical fallacies is an important part of preparing for a debate, but there are other steps you can take to be well prepared. Here are a few tips. Research. Gather information about the topic you'll be debating. Look for credible sources such as academic studies, government reports, and news articles. Understand the different perspectives and arguments that have been made on the topic. Organize your thoughts. Once you've done your research, organize your thoughts and ideas into a clear and logical structure. This will help you present your argument in a clear and concise way. Anticipate counterarguments. Think about the arguments your opponent is likely to make and prepare counterarguments in advance. This will help you stay calm and composed during the debate. Practice. Rehearse your argument and counterarguments with friends, family members, or in front of a mirror. This will help you build confidence and become more comfortable speaking in public. Be respectful. Remember that a debate is a conversation and not a personal attack. Show respect to your opponent, even if you disagree with their viewpoint. Listen to their argument with an open mind. Be aware of your tone. Pay attention to your tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions during the debate. These nonverbal cues can convey your message just as much as your words. Be open to learning. Remember that a debate is also an opportunity to learn from others. Even if you don't agree with the other person's viewpoint, you may learn something new or find a new perspective. Stay calm. Debate can be intense, and it's important to keep your emotions in check. Take a deep breath and stay calm, even if the conversation becomes heated. So, there you go. By following these tips and being familiar with logical fallacies, you'll be well prepared to engage in a respectful, informed, and persuasive debate. Now, just for fun, say, Master Debater, 3 times as fast as you can. Thank you for visiting the 10 Minutes Per Day YouTube channel, where you can learn something new each day in 10 minutes or less. And, if you found this information helpful, Please be sure to like and subscribe so that you never miss a video.